Yo. Welcome back to Fighting with Friends. It's your boy, Brother Gaia. And we are back again with another preview of UFC 325. Can't remember the last time I saw back to back pay per view or at least numbered events. Usually it's numbered event, fight night, numbered event, fight night. But now we've got numbered events. So yeah, UFC is doing big things here with Paramount Plus, right? So yeah, welcome back to Fighting with Friends, everybody. Thank you for choosing Fighting with Friends. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Give us your picks, give us your thoughts on the fight card. We're looking forward to it. Yeah, at Fighting with Friends. But as always, you know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to break down this fight card nicely for you guys. Mainly sticking to the main card. Only going to give a breakdown, X's and O's, but I'm not going to give you guys any picks just yet because you will find that picks in tomorrow's program with if I was a betting man, we will go through our props, our picks, our parlays, break it all down for you guys tomorrow. So keep a lookout for that. We will be live, which will be at 9 p.m. South African time, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is around 12 or 1 p.m. US. So yeah, let's keep a lookout for that. But for now, I will start as always at the top of the card. Let's get straight into it. This fight card will be taking place in Australia, Sydney, at Kudos Bank Arena. Yeah, fun times. This is Volkanovski's background, or at least his home ground, and he's taking on Diego Lopes, who he had fought already and beaten, by the way, in a very good, close, contested matchup. Was it close, but a very competitive matchup? But I think Volkanovski did win that fight. Yeah, like I said, this is the main event, and yeah, I was pretty shocked actually because I thought it was going to be a fight night event, but now I was like, oh shit, this is actually a numbered event. So looking forward to it. I think the main card is pretty stacked. Can't say the same thing for the prelims or the early prelims, but the main card is very, very stacked. And we're starting it off with the rematch between Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopes. Hope you guys can see that on screen. Yeah, I think this is a great rematch. To be honest with you, I thought they were going to give the fight to Lerone Murphy instead after beating Adam Pico. But also, Adam Pico isn't ranked in the UFC, so it was like beating him wouldn't really guarantee a title fight if you've been honest. But I also felt that Murphy did do enough, and he's undefeated. So it's like just give him the fight. If Volkanovski beats him, then Lerone Murphy can fight, and then Lopez can fight Volkanovski again. Or what they could have done was have Diego Lopes versus Lerone Murphy, and then we could have gotten a number one contender shot for sure. But I don't think Volkanovski wanted to wait that long. But yeah, let's go through some numbers and then we can break down this fight. So Volkanovski is 37 years old. He's the featherweight champion. Obviously, his record is 27 wins, 4 losses, 0 no contest, 13 wins by KO, 3 wins by sub, 7 first round finishes. And he beat Diego Lopes in his last fight by unanimous decision. Diego Lopes is 30 years old, still nice and young. His record is 27 wins, 7 losses, 0 no contest, 11 wins by KO, 12 wins by sub, and 15 first round finishes. He beat John Silva by second round KO in his last fight. That was a wild fight, but I thought that Diego Lopes was the superior fighter for me. So now we have the rematch, and I noticed that a lot of people online have been thinking or praising this fight or prefacing this fight as if it's going to be the same as what it was the first time. I can understand why that would be the narrative, just because the first fight didn't get any stoppages. It was 5 rounds, which means there's enough time and tape to watch to see what happened in that fight. And because there wasn't any finishes, Volkanovski pretty much won that fight by being the higher IQ fighter, but having more experience there. Well, I mean, maybe not say higher IQ, but I will say the one with the more experience. He knew how to deal with the onslaught of Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes didn't really shoot as much as I thought he would. He didn't really go for any submissions as much as he would. He stayed boxing, which I felt was at the time I felt it was favoring Volkanovski, and I thought maybe he should do something else than just stay at boxing. But then it turns out that Diego Lopes actually abandoned the game plan during the fight, and he just felt like he needed to knock Volkanovski out because he felt he was actually holding his own, which he was, but he was still losing the fight, in my opinion. So maybe he got caught up into exchanges that wasn't really necessary for him. I felt that if Lopez could switch the fight up a little bit, because one thing he was successful at in that fight was he kept Volkanovski on the back foot. I thought that was very impressive. The only time Lopez got backed up is when Volkanovski tagged him with something big and actually backed him up with it. But I mean, apart from that, I think Lopez was the one that was being the pressure fighter in that fight. He was the one that was pressurizing Volkanovski, or pressuring Volkanovski for most of the rounds. But I think Volkanovski, with his experience, And also, this is what I want to highlight. I think Volkanovski's boxing was sharper, meaning you watch Diego Lopes, he's got a good jab on him, like he's got a nice jab on him, but the jab it doesn't work off the jab. If that makes sense. The jab he throws out to maybe establish some distance, or not even that, just to kind of feel out his opponent. But Volkanovski, excuse me, Diego Lopes, primarily where he has his most dangerous moments is when he's actually swinging on you, right? So from the jab, you can get an uppercut from there, or you can get like clubbing hooks that he throws, and he has a habit of hooking, almost like it's like he's letting go of that stance, right? So what he's doing is when he does is when Lopez hooks, it's like bang, 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 bang. He's never hooking, 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 hooking. He's just hooking, 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 hooking. He's just throwing it like this the whole time. And I think watch that fight back. Every time he was doing those hooks, Volkanovski will keep the guard up and he will just lunge forward with a straight right, bang, get out of the way. He'll lunge forward with a straight right, bang, and then come up with a left, bang, like that. And the reason why he was landing more than Diego Lopes in that fight and more accurately is because he wasn't coming from a wider range. He wasn't coming from a wider angle. So for every time Lopez comes from a wide angle, Volkanovski just goes straight forward with it, poof, attacks him with it. So there's less distance to cover. It may not have the same kind of velocity to it, but it has short distance to travel. And there's still a lot of pop in the shot. So when it lands, it actually pushes Diego Lopes back every time. It actually got him rocked a few times in the fight. And Lopez being the fighter that he is, that's so durable and still game for anything and willing to put everything in there to get the shot, he would still walk through that. Or he will at least take it, but he will still swing something big and he cracked Volkanovski back with it. So I can understand the fight may look the same. It could change if either guy chooses to wrestle. I know Volkanovski chose to wrestle a couple of times, but I think that can be the outcome for the fight when you have these two guys that are fairly even on the feet. Either one really knocks each other out, but the one does land more than the other one, which is Volkanovski. That will make a fight a little bit difficult for judges to score and also could result in a similar result to what it was the first time. So it really does depend on what Diego Lopes does differently in this fight, because Volkanovski doesn't have to change much. He fought the perfect fight. He was cleaner, he was sharper, he had a better game plan of staying out of danger. He was able to take shoot on Diego Lopes whenever Diego Lopes would get too hyper aggressive. So a lot of the changes a lot of the things that need to change in this fight will need to be from Diego Lopes. And personally, I feel like Diego Lopes incorporates a very measured game plan because you're fighting against the best of the best here. You know what I mean? You're fighting against a guy that has taken out the best names, has got a fantastic understanding of how to fight 5 rounds, right? I think for Diego Lopes, he's going to have to use his jiu-jitsu. He's going to have to use his wrestling. And I noticed, I'm sure you all have been watching the embedded episodes. It looks like Diego Lopes has gotten some Olympic wrestlers into his camp to primarily focus on wrestling. I think in terms of striking, he doesn't have to change much. I think his striking was very good in that first fight. I think he held his own. I think he was very dangerous, and he could at some moments in that fight really get Volkanovski out of there. There was a nice clean shot that had Volkanovski almost running away in the fight because of the damage it took to his eye. So I think the fight is fairly even. I really do, but I do think that Diego Lopes is going to have to incorporate a full array of, jiu-jitsu, some wrestling, then striking, and because he already had the one thing down, which was very important, and that was to be the one on the front foot. So he was able to pressure Volkanovski, keep him on the back foot. That's already half the battle won. If he can do that and keep that, that's fantastic. But now, with that pressure, he needs to do a lot more for me. And I think that is not to only get into a firefight, but if he makes Volkanovski think about takedowns, think about submission threats, I feel like that will make the fight a lot more even than what it was the first time. And even if more, could even lead to Diego Lopes being a little bit having the edge over Volkanovski if he does that. But it's a lot easier said than done. Volkanovski is a champ for a reason. He reclaimed the title against a young contender who, let's be frank, a lot of people was considering to be the next in line. Now that Ilya's out of the division, Max is out of the division, who's next, right? So it's Diego Lopes, it's Lalone Murphy, Rodriguez is still there. So John Saul will just beat the top contender in Arnold Allen, so he's coming up the rankings. So Lal's coming in there. Mario Batista. What's the other guy's name? It's also just beneath. He's just beneath what's this dude's name? Is Aljamain Sterling, Steve Garcia, who's on a massive streak right now. These guys are coming up, but I still don't see them as top tier. But I mean, they in the high rankings, right? So I gotta give a little bit of respect to the guys that's coming up. But I think that Diego Lopes is the one that's next in line, along with Lalone Murphy, to maybe be the next sort of kings to come of the division for the next couple of years. I feel personally. But yeah, I think in this fight, it's again like the fans have been saying, and pundits have been saying, that it's fairly even. I think there's a big fire under Diego Lopez's ass, which means he's probably going to perform a lot different and a little bit more dangerous in his last fight. So let's see. At ease in Sydney, Australia, Volkanovski coming from land down under. He's going to perform at the best. It's going to be a difficult fight. It's like final boss moments for Diego Lopez, taking on the final boss again. So I'm expecting big fireworks in this fight. I'm expecting Diego Lopez to look a lot different than what he did in the first fight. So I think it's going to be more dangerous for Volkanovski. One of Volkanovski's biggest traits in the fight is that he can manage distance and he can manage time in the fight. Probably one of the best you will see in the UFC is that he can do that really, really well. And I think that makes him super dangerous. And Diego Lopez, he had to do a lot. He had to do a lot in that first fight to actually land Volkanovski. And for me, that's the moments in the fight where it's going to be a make or break. Is that how successful will Diego Lopez actually be with that pressure? Because I have no doubt in my mind that he'll be able to walk Volkanovski down. I have no doubt in my mind he can do that. Volkanovski is not 31 years old. He's 37. So his movement is different. The way that he fights the fight is a little bit different. And I think that Diego Lopez is going to be able to walk him down the same way he did in that first fight. But the real question is, can he do something with that pressure? Because that's where Volkanovski thrives. Whether you walk him down or he's walking you down, yeah, it's more about what can you do when you do have Volkanovski being backed up. That's the biggest thing. How many fighters were able to walk Volkanovski down and be successful? Even Max, even though I thought Max won the first two fights, he he had three opportunities to walk Volkanovski down and wasn't successful with it. So yeah, that's a big feat. It's a very big feat. So I will reserve my opinions for who wins, but make of it what you will with that statistics or how I broke that down. And you can let me know in the comments what your picks are about this main event and who you think is going to win. Are we going to have Anstel or are we going to have and new? Let me know in the comments, please, ladies and gentlemen. And also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm going to move to the co-main event. Let's fucking go. Okay, co-main event. What a fight! What a fight the UFC has booked for us here. Honestly, I cannot wait for this main card. Oh my soul! There's just firefights after firefights after firefights in this main card. Brilliant, brilliant matchups from the UFC. So we have Dan Hooker returning after his beatdown from Arman Sarukian, taking on Benoit Santoni on a massive rise in the lightweight division. You know what these two guys are like. They're absolute killers. So we know this fight's going to be war. And yeah, let's go through some statistics and some X's and O's. So Dan Hooker, what a legend, 35 years old. His record overall is 24 wins, 13 losses, and 0 no contest. 11 wins by KO, 7 wins by sub, 12 first round finishes, and he lost to Arman Sarukian by second round sub in his last fight. Benoit Santoni, on the other hand, he's 30 years old, record one champion. The record overall is 16 wins, 3 losses, no contest, 5 wins by KO, 11 wins by sub, 8 first round finishes, and 3 fight win streak right now, beating Beneil Dariush by first round KO in his last fight. Beautiful left hook. And yeah, BST has looked good in his last 3 fights. Look, the matchups have been, I won't say favorable, but I would say the matchups have been fairly equal to him. You know what I mean? He was on the rise, then he finally gets top 5 contendership or upper echelon of the division, and he gets smoked by Dustin Poirier. But then he goes back, switches gyms, gets a new head coach, and goes on the tear. Good fight win, good 3-fight win streak. And then his last one was against sort of the gatekeeper of the division, Beneil Dariush, and KOs him within like 13, 14 seconds with the left hook, boom, ends the fight. So he's leveling up. He is definitely leveling up, right? And BSD can fight grappling, submission game, striking, brawls. He's got high pace. Sometimes it's a bit too much for me, where I feel like he needs to sometimes taper it back a little bit and control that aggression. Because these 3 rounds, sometimes it's a 5-round fight he's going to be involved in, and then he goes so hard in the first 2 rounds or round 1 that he doesn't actually have a third or a fourth or a fifth gear. So I want him to level that up. In terms of his fight style, his striking is polished, his grappling is polished. But I think he has too many adrenaline dumps because he just goes. And like that can win a lot of fights. But he mentioned it in the Embedded episode, once you fight on aggression, you can only get that far. And you have to sort of level up after that. You have to rely on something else outside of aggression to get to that championship level. And he says he has. And let's see if he does it, because now he's taking on another top contender who went to war with Dustin Poirier, by the way. And like apart from like high level grapplers, nobody's been able to really stop Dan Hooker when it comes to that game. Like if you think about it, everyone choose to stand and box with Dan Hooker or strike with him for 3 rounds or 4, 5 rounds. Dan Hooker has a high chance of winning. He has a very high chance of winning. It's like you tip the favor into Dan Hooker a lot more when it comes to just pure striking, right? Especially against someone like BSD. Like if this fight stays on the feet, dude, I'm gonna bet on Dan Hooker, right? But again, it's just so hard to say that because BSD has leveled up and BSD has got very good ground game. His wrestling has changed astronomically. Like he looks very different now in his last couple of fights. His wrestling doesn't look so sloppy. Like he's got very good understanding about how to take somebody down when he gets the locks, when he gets the underhook, his timing of double legs. If he has double leg, he knows how to sweep one leg and put you down and run that pipe. And I think that's absolutely impressive about how he's changed his game, right? Good choice to go and train with what's the number one contender now? Nasruddin Imavov. I think that's a really good choice to go and train with someone who's right there for title contention. So, yeah, impressive stuff from BSD. His game is definitely leveled up. And the question remains: is this is Dan Hooker's like final run for a title again? Right at 35 years old, this is his last attempt if you think about it. And the Arman Sarukian matchup for me, I didn't think Dan Hooker was going to win that fight. However, he's still in the top tier of the division, right? And I think if he beats BSD, it just only furthers his stability of that spot that he has in the division right now. So, yeah, I think if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I think there are a little bit more tools in the tool shed for Benoit Santini. Like he does use a full array of weapons. He doesn't just overly rely on like superior striking. He does go for jiu-jitsu. He does go for the wrestling. He does switch things up if he needs to in a fight. And I think that can be a big thing or a big factor in a fight like this, where we know that Dan Hooker, yes, he has good takedown defense against fighters that aren't Islam Makhachev, that aren't Arman Sarukian. I think look how he defended takedowns against Mateusz Gamrot, who is largely considered as one of the best wrestlers of the division. And then Hooker was able to stifle a lot of his takedowns and beat the shit out of him for 3 rounds, right? That's impressive stuff. And I think this fight will be made or break on whether or not it actually goes down to the ground. I think if it goes down to the ground, there's a chance that you can bet on Benoit Santini to win this fight. But if Benoit Santini has to work a lot to get there, I think Dan Hooker pieces him up for 3 rounds and actually gets the finish because Dan Hooker is super crafty. And when he gets comfortable on the feet and he realizes that the fighter can't take him down, he's gonna put the beat down on you. Even if he doesn't finish you, you're gonna know that he's gonna put the beat down on you. So the fight's gonna be very tricky for me. It's all about the level of what Santini has increased to, and Dan Hooker. It all comes down to Dan Hooker can just sustain the pressure and not allow Santini to take him down, and he wins this fight. But yeah, it's a bit of a 50-50 if you think about it like that. Again, I'm trying not to give you guys too much information away because I have to sort of justify my picks tomorrow in our live parlay episode. So after this preview, when I do the parlay episode tomorrow with the boys, I will then give more justification for my for who I think actually wins this fight. But I'm trying right now to kind of highlight what are the key things these fighters can actually provide to winning fights. And Pino Santini can get sucked into a brawl. Let's be frank about this, right? We've seen him do it before, where he just gets caught into a firefight to somebody, and then Luka does that to fighters as well, where he will strike you in such a way where you can't really shoot at him unless you fucking Islam Makhachev or you Arman Sarukian, but he pressures you in such a way where he gives you no choice but to strike with him. And PSD does have it in his mind to sometimes abandon the game plan and just like fuck it, let's just go. And he can do that, and I think that will just further favor Dan Hooker. That's just the reality there. But dude, I'm not pointing in the direction of Dan Hooker for you guys. I just think that as much as we know that Dan Hooker is dangerous, Pino Santini he's not a slouch. You know what I'm saying? He's not someone that you can overlook. He's not a snail. This guy can fight. He's an absolute monster in there. He doesn't have the God of War nickname for nothing. So I'm looking forward to that matchup. I'm looking forward to all the matchups of this fight card, but that one's going to be particularly great. But give me your thoughts about it, please, chat. Let me know in the comment section. Who you picking and why? Like, give me your justifications for it. But for now, I'll keep it moving. Let's go. Ooh, I think better than water. Again, the big fights just keep coming. We are moving on again. State lightweight. Lots of lightweight fights on this card, which I think is brilliant. I think whenever I see the pattern in the UFC, whenever there's a title fight, whatever that title fight, whichever division that title fight is in, you will notice that the rest of the fights on the fight card will be within that division, which I think is a good idea. And I think one championship should also do something like that. Okay, lightweight matchup. Top contenders here. We have Rafael Fiziev taking on Mauricio Hoof. And I think this is going to be striker's delight. I think it's going to be very much fan favorite, fan service here, this kind of matchup. I see Fiziev taking some takedowns. I think in a fight like this, the one who does shoot for takedowns has the advantage to win the fight. I always say that all my life. If it's striker versus striker, I think it would be in the best interest from either one of those fighters to actually incorporate some grappling, because I think it's egotistical to fight a striker in MMA and keep it striking. It's like we might as well just go kickbox or go do Muay Thai or go box, right? I think in MMA, if I'm fighting the pure striker, and I know I'm also a very comfortable striker, I'm gonna wrestle you. I'm gonna do that all the time. I might not be able to tap you out, but I'm gonna steal rounds every time if we're gonna keep striking each other. I'm not gonna hunt for the KO. It's a pure striker fight. I will try and set it up, and when the opportunity presents itself, I will look for that kill shot. I don't think I'm going to force it against another striker because the risk is too high. So I think what I'll do is I will make the striker think about me shooting on them. I'll feint for shots. I'll even clinch. I'll look for takedowns. I'll make the fighter realize that, okay, I'm not just going to be and strike with you. That gives them opportunity to realize, oh shit, this guy is hunting for single legs. He's looking for double legs. He's looking for clinches. So I need to not keep my hips away, which then gives me more opportunity to actually land the killer blow. Because now my opponent's mind is thinking about more than one thing and not just me boxing with him, right? And I think in this fight, that's who has the advantage. Is that going to happen? I'm not so sure because we don't often see Fiziev or Hoofy shooting for takedowns, even though they both can. It's just not their preference, right? So yeah, let's go through some numbers and then we'll go through some X's and O's. Rafael Fiziev is 32 years old. His record in UFC, or his record overall, is 13 wins, 4 losses, no contest. 8 wins by KO, 1 win by sub, 6 first-round finishes, and he beat Ignacio Bahamondes by unanimous decision, who's a very good prospect in my opinion. Mauricio Hoof is 29 years old, and his record is 12 wins, 2 losses, no contest, 11 wins by KO, 8 first-round finishes, and he lost to Benoit Santini, a second-round sub in his last fight. Lessons were taught there to him. And again, Benoit Santini was able to maul the striker with overwhelming barrage of punches and shooting for takedowns. He made him have to react to multiple things. He didn't just go in there and strike with him because that would have made the fight 50-50 if he did that. So PSD was like, I'm going to take you down, bro. I know you can strike. You know I can strike. We know we both can knock each other out. But can we count each other's wrestling is the big thing because it's MMA. And to be foolish to not use those weapons or to use those other avenues in a fight where it's allowed. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the smart thing to do, and I think that's going to be, for me, going to be the keys to victory for either guy. I think in striking departments, I think it's like they're both at high level. They're both extremely fantastic at it. Some of the fastest striking you'll see in the division, accurate, creative, spinning wheel kicks. The way they throw their punching combinations. I think Fiziev's a little bit faster. In my opinion, I think he's a little bit more explosive than Mauricio Rufy. I think Mauricio Rufy is a little bit more creative. He's got a little bit of dynamism to his striking in the way that he sets things up. He's got that wide Conor McGregor stance, walks forward and spins right. But he doesn't have the sort of. If you think about the way Fiziev strikes, Fiziev does have the Muay Thai base. He's got that explode forward, over and right, left hook to the body, up high kick. We'll go low kick, left hook, right hand. He will piece up different targets, and he'll explode with it, right? And he's brilliant at it. And when he gets into the pocket, you can hit him, but it's not often you're going to land on him so much because he does have his guard there. Fiziev, it's partially the reasons why Justin Gaethje in 2 fights couldn't knock him out, right? Because he's a difficult guy to put away. He's very durable, right? He's extremely fast. Right? So he gets in there and he can land stuff on you, and when he comes out, you can crack him, but he's already moving away. So it's like you will roll with that shot. You will tag him, but you will roll with it, right? And Fiziev is fantastic at it. I think with Fiziev, to beat someone like Fiziev, you're gonna have to target the body a lot more than you target the head because he's a hard guy to put away, right? Mauricio Rufy, I've seen enough to know that he's fairly, I won't say new to the career. Well, what's that? 14 fights in total in his career. That that's arguably like he's not elite yet. You know what I'm saying? You passed amateur now, but you still need to. You're in that middle bracket where you still need to accumulate a little bit more experience in various types of fights for me to consider him to be elite. Get what I'm saying? And for Ziev, even though he's ranked outside of the top 10 now, I think he's in the top 10 now. There was a time where he was top 5, lightweight division, Rafa Faziev, number 9, right? Even though he's ranked number 9, I still think that this guy is he's top tier in this division. And yeah, this is a very tricky fight to sort of pick because I think if it stays striking, if Mauricio Rufy doesn't get the finish in the first round, I can see Faziev like accumulating the points as the fight goes on. Round 2 and round 3, I can see him pulling away with it because I think he's striking, for me personally, may not be as dynamic as Mauricio's in terms of like wild exchanges and like the, the weapons that come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It's very dynamic. That scissor takedown, it's like he's very dynamic with his movement and his style and what he does. But I can't see it sustainable for 3 rounds or even five rounds. I can't see that kind of style sustainable. Because if you look at the elite of the division, those guys don't give up spaces. They don't really give you opportunities to do stuff like that to them. You know what I'm trying to say? They don't give you timing for you to play the game like it's a video game. They don't do that. You know what I mean? These guys are too high level, they're too smart for stuff like that. I think that's when Mauricio Rufy can get caught. That's where he can lose fights. Is once he realizes that all this weird video game shit that he's doing isn't garnering success. Then it's like, where's the plan B from here? So hopefully Mauricio Rufy levels that up, does something different. Because Rafa Faziev, he doesn't give a flying fuck who you are. He's gonna go in there and he's gonna put everything out there on the line to get the job done. So it's gonna be a very, very fun fight. Striker's delight, fan favorite kind of performance. This is gonna be that fight that's gonna get everybody hyped. I know for a fact that there's arguably more conversation around this fight and the co-main event than there is in the main event because they've seen the main event already. So I think this fight and this co-main event is definitely what's making the fans go, fuck, let's get involved here. Let's watch this main card. You know what I'm saying? But let me know in the comment section what you guys think about these matchups. I think it's incredibly close. A lot of them. For me, it's coming down to fine line moments. It's coming down to like narrow margins in terms of who can win this fight because none of these fights here, this one co-main event and that main event, it's very difficult to justify who's like overwhelmingly favored. I don't think it's like that. I think these fights are a lot closer than saying, but Volkanovski beat Lopes already, or Dan Hooker is just too good in the boxing, and Faziev might be too fast for Rufy. Rufy's got 5'11" over 5'8". He's got lots of reach. He's got a big reach advantage in this fight, and that can be a big factor who can get the job done here. You know what I mean? So let me know in the comment section, guys. You know where that section is. Let me know where the comment section is. Let me know in the comment section what you guys have with this one. Give me your picks because I think these fights are all very, very, very close. For now, we'll keep it moving to the next part. Let's fucking go. Okay. Guess who's back? Bam Bam Tuivasa taking on Taliesin Teixeira in the heavyweight division. I don't think Teixeira is ranked. I think Tuivasa is still ranked, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check there. Okay, 12 versus 15, so he is ranked. All right. Heavyweight bout. Happy to see Bam Bam back. Tuivasa, 32 years old. Thought he was a lot older than that. I'm older than him. His record overall is 15 wins, 8 losses, 0 no contest. He's got 14 wins by KO, 12 first round finishes, 4 fight losing streak. Doesn't make me very happy to say that. He lost to Jairzinho Rosenstruck by split decision in his last fight. Taliesin Teixeira, 25 years old, still relatively young. Record is 8 wins, 1 loss, no contest, 7 wins by KO, 1 win by sub, 8 first round finishes. And 1 loss came at the hands of Derek the Black Beast Lewis, first round KO. Lessons were taught there. But also exposure. He was exposed. Before that fight, Teixeira was like wiping everybody out. 8 fights, 8 finishes. He was walking through everybody. Looking dangerous, looking slick, looking comfortable, sharp boxing, just looking like a new breed, right? I think he goes up against a very experienced fighter in Derek Lewis. And Derek just didn't even give a fuck about who he was and just walked right through him. Bang! Threw a right hand straight down the pipe, smashed him with it, left hook, right hand, dropped him, finished the fight. Tideway Vasa is pretty much the same as Derek Lewis if you think about it, right? Not a lot of complexity to the game. You know what he's gonna do? He's gonna stand in there, he's gonna walk forward, he's gonna throw a right hand over your guard and make sure it's gonna land and left. He's basically just gonna box with you the whole time. He's not gonna throw any team kicks. He's not gonna throw any calf kicks. He may throw 1 or 2 calf kicks because it's an easier kick to throw than a teep or a high kick or a body kick. So you may throw those in there, but primarily he's gonna maybe stand. The boss is gonna stand in his orthodox stance. And keep that guard tight. He's gonna walk forward, and he might just throw a front kick to an inside kick, or maybe to the body, just to make you fish for that leg, but then also to step down and bang, crack you with the right hand, then start the boxing combinations. It might work with the jab, which I think you should. I'm hoping to see a lot more of a refined Tai Tuivasa. 4-fight losing streak, out for a full year. I want to see some more refinement. I want to see him get a little bit better than what he was. You kind of like what led him to the dance was that he was just this brawler kind of fighter, right? But I do believe that in the world of combat sports, especially in MMA, you can't overly rely on that. You have to use other weapons. You have to use different tools. We're going to be boxer in the MMA game. You're going to have great takedown defense. You know what I mean? You can't just overly rely on boxing. Cyril Gane schooled him. Alexander Volkov schooled him. They all taught him lessons. You have to use multiple weapons here. You can't just stand and bang. Alison Teixeira, I'm keen to see what he's going to do differently. Because he's fighting someone that fights a lot like the guy who knocked him out in the first round. You know what I mean? Tai Tuivasa, like Derek Lewis, doesn't really stand there and allow you just to piece him up. They don't do that. They want to be on the front foot. They want to lead the dance. They want to land a big shot on you. So you need to see if Teixeira's counter-striking is going to hold up here. What does it look like when he does get punched by Tuivasa? Because Tuivasa is the kind of guy that you can crack him in the face. He has been finished, but like a lot of the guys had to make sure they landed a couple of more shots after rocking him. They had to like hit him, rock him, drop him, keep going, because he doesn't really get finished that easily. Tai Tuivasa can walk through a firefight. Like, you know what I mean? You can high kick him and he will walk through, he will rock him, but he will stand in and he will just bang, bang, attack you with something big as you come in and he wins the fight, right? So Teixeira is going to be in a warrior with a very, very tough, experienced opponent here. So, and again, it's in Australia, right? Tai Tuivasa doesn't want to lose in Australia. So let's just put that out there. He's going to be again powered up by the home crowd advantage. So, yeah, interesting matchup here because it's as dangerous for Tai Tuivasa as it is for Alison Teixeira. It's very dangerous. Because even Tai Tuivasa, I expect him to be the aggressor in this fight. But that's also a dangerous thing in a heavyweight fight, right? You can be aggressive, but if you come forward very aggressively, and the moment you release your guard, throw your offense, you can bet that there's a counter shot there that can put you away. So I almost feel like because we know the margins for error are so slim in heavyweight division. I think Tai Tuivasa, actually both guys are going to have to keep their guards and defenses up in a fight like this where both dudes have got such incredible knockout power. Fun fight. I'll be surprised if it goes the distance. But this is going to be a fun one. I'm expecting the finish. I'm just not too sure right in this instance right now who's going to get that KO. Honestly, I'm not doing this because I want to save my opinions for the picks tomorrow. I really just don't think it's difficult at this moment to actually really justify who would get that KO because on the one hand, you got the young fighter in Teixeira who's on a day and then got KO'd, but still very, very dangerous. On the other hand, you have Tai Tuivasa who's extremely good at his boxing, hasn't fought in a while, and coming off 4 losses. You know what I mean? So there's no momentum on either of the guys' sides at this current moment in time. So very tricky fight, very tricky fight to predict. I will say this before I continue to the next one. Keep a lookout for our live parlay episode tomorrow. We're going to be talking about this picks very, very intricately, and I'm going to showcase you guys an application that's going to be launched in about, let's say, 6 weeks from now. That is basically an AI predictor. I've tested it out now over 2 fight cards over last weekend, and I must say it's got a very, very high hit rate. So we're going to use this app tomorrow on stream to talk about these picks in fine detail, to also just to help compare to our initial picks. You know what I mean? We're not going to rely on the app. We're just going to use the app to help us compare what our initial picks are, see if AI predictor is on par with us or be on par with AI and who's actually most accurate. Because it's easy, eventually we kind of want to lead to the point where we get the most picks right without sort of losing. You know what I mean? Because I must be quite honest with you guys. Last week it was like 12 fights, 11 right, one wrong. That's what it was like. That was like the hit rate. Of course, you with that you need to obviously fine tune the amount of picks you want to make. You don't want to go like what I did last week, where you go in all that picks just to only get one wrong. So you want to correct that. But anyway, let me know in the comment section who you guys got for this heavyweight bout between Taito Ivasa and Talishan. Take share. For now, I'm going to keep it moving to the opening bout of this main card. So let's go. Okay, opening fight of the main card. We have a lightweight bout between Julian Sulkid taking on Jamie Malarkey. I don't know why this thing is not allowing me to fucking load the page, bro. Why it's not doing that? I don't understand. But anyway, so I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit more so you guys know who I'm talking about. That fight that's on screen right now. Let's go through some numbers and statistics, and then we'll break it down a little bit. So, Quillen Solkid is 25 years old. His record is he's actually 10 wins, one loss, no contest, 4 wins by KO, 3 wins by sub, 5 first round finishes, 3 fight win streak. It's 3-0 in the UFC right now, beating Nazrat Hakparas by first round KO in his last fight. That was brutal to watch. He just absolutely annihilated a very very good boxer in the division. Jamie Malarkey is 31 years old. His record is 18 wins, 8 losses in no contest. So a little bit more experience. 10 wins by KO, 3 wins by sub, 7 first round finishes, beating Rolando Bedoya. Again, a very, very, very good boxer in the division by unanimous decision. So both guys have got some good wins under their belt right now. I think Quillen looks a little bit more dangerous between the two guys. Malarkey's a very competent, tall striker. He's got good range. He's sharp, right? I want to see him be a little bit more venomous with what he's trying to do in there. Sometimes I feel like he plays a little bit too safe. I thought the fight against Bedoya, he looked very good in that fight. Pardon me. Because I rate Bedoya. I think Bedoya is a very good fighter. I think Bedoya and Akbaras, I'm not sure if they threw down before, but I think both of those guys are really, really good boxers in there. And both Silkid and Malarkey were better fighters on the night. They were far better fighters. I think Silkid didn't even have an issue with Naskrat. He was just too fast, too long, super, super accurate, and dangerous striking. Whereas Malarkey may not have the same kind of pop in his shots, doesn't have the same kind of power, but also very tall, also rangy, fights very, very long, good weapons, stays safe. But I just find that Malarkey is a little bit more of a safer fighter than he is a fighter that looks for finishes, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I find him to be a little bit more dangerous between the two guys, a little bit more safe between the two guys. But I think Quillen he's looking to make a statement here. I don't know what it is, but it looks like he's willing to make a statement. It is Australia versus Australia, so it might even be a friendly affair. Or it could just be like two guys that respect each other and be like, let's go in there and put a fight, show on for the fans. At which point I think we might get a KO in this fight. But let's see what happens. I find these guys to have a very, what's the one I'm looking for? I don't want to say identical. They just have a very similar base, but difference. And I think it's a key difference. One is a little bit more venomous than the other one. That's the big thing here. Also think that Malarkey can wrestle a little bit, but I just find this fight going to be on the feet the whole time. And yeah, let's see who gets the job done here. I think it's going to be a very explosive fight. Going to kick off the main card really, really well. So yeah, let's see what happens there. Again, like, share, and subscribe, and keep a lookout for our parlay episode tomorrow. I was a betting man. All right. That is pretty much my time, but I will look at the prelims for you guys a little bit, which starts at 2 a.m. South African time on Sunday. Junior Tafa is back, taking on Billy Elkana. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not too excited for that fight. I can't say that I'm going to be waking up for it because I'm probably going to start the live just before the main card starts, just like we did last week. The difference is I will be more awake this time because we're not actually going to be doing any celebrations this weekend. So I will definitely be more awake this time. Cam Roston and Cody Brandage. Don't know much about Cam Roston. Cody Brandage, we know what he's like. He's a game opponent. He's a good fighter. So that should be a fun one. Again, not excited about this matchup. Jacob Malkoun taking on Torres Fini. Torres Fini had a very underwhelming fight his last time out at UFC. I'm not too excited about that matchup. Oban Elliott is back. He's taking on Jonathan McAuliffe. Hopefully, Oban Elliott gets the win here. The dude definitely he should get a win now. I mean, so many back-to-back losses. Definitely should be getting a win here. Early prelims, Khan Ofri is back taking on Yiza from China. And as you can see on screen, the next couple of fights are a lot of debut fighters here. So not going to really sit here and give you guys predictions for this one. I see Adam Tao is there. I think he might be in the training camp from the same gym as Dan Hooker with Eugene Berman them. So yeah, very, very keen to see what these guys are going to perform like. He's taking on a Mongolian fighter. So you know what that looks like, guys. That could be very dangerous for Adam. But okay, that is my time. I'm ready to spar. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, everybody. This is UFC 325. It will be live this Sunday, 1st of February at 4 a.m. South African time from Australia, Sydney, Kudos Bank Arena. Looking forward to seeing you all there. But yeah, for myself and the Fighting with Friends team, everybody, you please have yourself a fantastic week. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe, stay blessed, and you know we will definitely catch you on the next one. Look forward to seeing you guys in the live tomorrow. So yeah, have a good one, everybody. Cheers.